Broadcasting today from the United States of America. I could prove it because we have great Americans like the Archangels who are performing tonight at Lackawanna College. It's also the place where the brave, like the veterans we've lost this year, but salute today, thanks to our man John Basiliga and his great Basiliga Hospitality Group. Like Harold Williams of Stillwater, Alan Jordan, Peckville, Robert Bruno, Taylor, Thaddeus Mesh, Leda Milford, Delaware, but he was from Hanover Township, Levi Stout, Berwick, and Bill Swisher, Bloomsburg, the United States of America, founded with the certain knowledge and understanding by our amazing, irreplaceable, and profoundly wise founding fathers who knew that government should not be. And then they did whatever they could to make sure it could not be and never would be our parent, our guide, our direction, our salvation. Not any of these things. They knew that government power, because of human nature, would be abused and should only be a necessary evil designed to protect and organize society. The United States of America, the country where, for the first time in human history, freedom was declared by law to be an unalienable right granted to each individual by God. It could not be parceled out to groups. It could not be controlled by government or government officials because our great American Constitution ensures and codifies freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom of association, economic freedom, and even freedom of the press, whether they abuse it, use it properly, or not. Now, because they were armed with these freedoms, and only because of that fact, a ragtag bunch of immigrants to this country, many of them rejects from around the world, they and their progeny created the richest, most powerful, most culturally diverse and accepting nation ever to grace our planet Earth. America, the only place specifically invented and designed so that every American can live their life in the manner they choose, unlimited by their background, upbringing, race, color, or creed, unhindered by the government or those who would use government to control others for their own comfort, benefit, or power. This Bob Cordaro show, it'll always be convincingly conservative, lovingly logical, proudly and passionately patriotic, and reliably right. And so, we gavel to order today's meeting of the Club for Common Sense, promising you that our total, immersive, immovable commitment to common sense will provide a sanctuary of sanity to all of you who hearken here for the balance of this singular, extraordinary morning. Well, they have an event tonight called the Archangels, and Ark is putting it on, and it's a stage show. And I'm not. I was telling them when they were here, the Ark gang. I said, I've got a very short attention span. She said, don't worry, it's only 45 minutes, and it's free. And it's at the People's Security Theater in downtown Scranton at Lackawanna College. You're going to love it. And we played that clip of this great young man defending his life. And the fact that he's got to defend it offends me. It truly does. In any event. Somebody texts in, I think Bob is stalling, so he doesn't have to comment on that I love inflation comment. I watched it. Now, first of all, everybody knows Trump's syntax is, I don't know, like an 8th grader. But the fact is, that's not what he said. And again, what do the Democrats do? What do the Trump haters do? They hate him so much that they won't tell the truth. They lie. He didn't say, I love inflation. He said he loved the numbers. Because with everything going on, in his view, and with this necessary required attack of Iran, the inflation rate for the month was 4.2, and he said that's great. He didn't say I love inflation. Didn't say it. But again, this is what we're reduced to on the Democrat left. The Democrat Party as a whole, unfortunately, the only guy in Washington, D.C., the only Democrat in Washington, D.C. telling the truth is John Fetterman, which is stunning. The only Democrat telling the truth in California is Bill Maher. The only Democrat telling the truth in New York is Harold Ford on The View. Or not The View, on The Five. I don't get it. Look at, there is fair criticism to be had. There's fair criticism to be had on a lot of things. But lies are not the route to winning your argument. But see, they never have one. They never actually have an argument. Because they are wrong on everything. They're wrong on everything. You just listen to them. Ask what the policies are. We had a discussion yesterday, but I mean, it was a text thing about my using mental illness, saying it appears to be mental illness that has overtaken the Democrat Party and their leadership. And I'm like, well, okay. So I thought to myself, and I didn't get a chance to write down the list because of the traffic this morning, but let's start with the open border. There is literally no one in their right mind. Do you remember the video, which you could almost only get on Fox, of these caravans and the people with the silver foil piled up outside of Texas? Does anybody remember that? Does anybody remember the planes flying here, right here, and then Matt Cartwright lying about them, that they weren't here, that they weren't coming? And then after he got caught after about 3 lies, he said, well, Trump did it too, which is a lie. It's frightening. Does anybody forget, as someone just texted in, 9% inflation under Joe Biden for no reason except the Green New Deal insanity? Operating on and pharmacologically destroying young children who have gender dysphoria. Does anyone remember that? Is that sane? We could go through all the policies. Cutting off our oil and reducing our oil production on federal lands, and then going to Venezuela to ask them for oil, going to Saudi Arabia and asking them for oil when we didn't need it. Literally, I could do the entire show on the insanity of the left that owned the sickening, disgusting Biden administration. And you ask, anybody who supports that is mentally ill. I don't know another analysis. Is it complete insanity? No, they may be able to function within their daily lives. And by the way, this is separate from TDS. You can hate Trump all you want. He makes himself very hateable, and that's fine. But when you look at his policies and what they're trying to do, genocide in Palestine, I mean, it's all lies. It is all lies. It's quite amazing. I just don't get it. If you're telling me it's not mental illness, please describe what it is, because you have no clue. You've divorced yourself. If you're supporting Democrat policies, today's Democrat policies, you have divorced yourself from fact, truth, and reality. What is that? That's mental illness. I'll stand by it. We'll take a break. We'll be back. It's the Bob Cordaro Show. I guess this is based on the cartoon alley-oop, because this date, 1960, Murph tells us the Argylls had the #1 hit with that song. Yeah, you get a kick out of when those songs come out. So Tom from Dallas says Joe Biden's averaged 5% inflation during his 4 years. I'll put Trump's record up against Biden's any day. Also, Trump and the Republicans are not out there trying to sexually mutilate children with tax dollars and having a drag queen story hour for children. Yep. It's quite amazing. And they just, I don't know. Again, the pathology, I don't understand it. What is causing this mental illness? And again, disliking Donald Trump it's easy to do. That's fine. But to support Democrat candidates and policies is insane. The other thing you can't forget about, never mind, by the way, I saw this statistic, and it was frightening. I guess there was what? I'm doing it off the top of my head, but I saw it. David Harris, who I follow on Instagram. And the short version of it is, there's 24,000 murders in the United States last year. 13,000, or was it 2024? 13,000 committed by illegal aliens. Forget the just opening the border and intending to destroy the culture, to destroy the economy. Just ignore that, because you will. You got the carnage of American citizens, and that doesn't count the rest of the crime. That's just the murders. And let's not forget about fentanyl getting across the border because it was wide open. At least 100,000 Americans died because of that. Please tell me that's not insane. Tell me it's not insane. We sent money to Ukraine by the hundreds of billions of dollars, and at least half of it was stolen. The entire Russian military budget is $61 billion a year. We sent about $180 billion to Ukraine. Now, by the way, that's their complete budget, not just what they're deploying against Ukraine. We were overtaken by pure madness during the Biden years. And there's something wrong with you, and I'm not kidding. There's something wrong with you if you don't think so and if you didn't see it. We could go policy after policy. Things that they did. The man showing his breasts on the White House lawn, honoring Trans Visibility Day on Easter Sunday. This was so sick. Appointing a Supreme Court justice who may be one of the, Ketanji Brown Jackson, one of the dumbest people on the planet. She couldn't say what a woman was. And her performance on the Supreme Court has been so abysmal, they've broken down to all decorum. She's criticizing individuals. It's just craziness. And everything was based on race or some classification. everything, all decisions, this DEI madness. And you could go on. I will go on and on. I'm going to go on and on. Because I'm going to try to cure you. And if I can't cure you, then please let me help you cross the street, because you may not see the bus coming at you. We'll take a break. We'll be back. We got a Veterans Tribute. Jake will have the weather, and then more. It's the Bob Cordaro Show. Our Veterans Tribute this Thursday, as with every Thursday. This hour, as with every hour. Brought to you by our man, John Basiliga. And on Thursdays, we always point out the great Basiliga Hospitality Group, because it's time to start going out again if you haven't already. 3 great bar restaurants like the Old Brook Inn, 307, Springbrook Township. The Queen City Tavern, downtown Oliphant. The Far Street Tavern, the reimagined tradition on Far Street in the Great Trips Park section of West Scranton. Fine dining, the Stegmeyer Mansion, downtown Wilkes-Barre. The Mary Stegmeyer Mansion. Not to mention the Fred Stegmeyer Mansion, the premier bed and breakfast in the nation. Both on South Franklin Street in that great city. Fine dining in Scranton, a Terra 519. Revamped menu, new chef, new prices, awesome. A Terra 519. And if you're looking for nightlife tonight, no cover charge at Sergei's the nightclub. Harold Williams. He was 80 years old when we lost him June 1st. He was from Stillwater. Born in Plymouth, 1964 graduate of Northwest High School. Harold was last employed as a manager at the Pennsylvania Office of Employment Compensation. He proudly served his country in the U.S. Army during the Vietnam War. He enjoyed cooking for his family, sharing recipes, loved sports, took great pride in his grandchildren. His humor, intelligence, and dedication to family will be sorely missed by all those who got to know and love him. Surviving is his wife, Mary Coast Williams, 3 daughters, 10 grandchildren, numerous nieces, nephews, and other family. Harold Williams. Alan Jordan, we lost him June 1st as well. He was from Peckville. He was 90. Alan married his loving wife, Ruth Ann Dennis Jordan, back in 1965. They'd been happily married for almost 60 years when Ruth Ann predeceased him in 2025. He was born at home, youngest of 5 children, a lifelong resident of Peckville, born and raised. Alan left school and worked as a dishwasher at Mid-Valley Hospital for exactly 30 days. He then joined the U.S. Air Force. He was hired at Procter & Gamble, where he worked for 30 years until his retirement in 1997, achieving the title of Electrician Instrumentation Technician. Alan served in the military for 25 years, active duty Air Force during the Korean War, and later in the Naval and Army Reserves, achieving the rank of Staff Sergeant. Alan was devoted and hardworking husband, dad, and papa. Left to cherish his memory are children, 5, grandchildren, 14, great-grandchildren, 13. Fantastic. Great legacy. His family says, we are heartbroken by your loss, but because of your spiritual faith, we have no doubt where you are, reunited with your wife, and we will see you again in our Father's heavenly kingdom. Alan Jordan. Our great veterans this hour, brought to you by the great Basiliga Hospitality Group and our man, John Basiliga. Chuck Berry. Murph tells us this date, 1964. He moved up to number 10 with his 21st hit. No particular place to go. Bob Cordaro back with you on the program. The administration just announced through the Department of Homeland Security and the Department of Justice. We talk about the sickness, the mental illness of Democrat policies and the Biden administration. 146,000 kids who were left to themselves, many of them as sex slaves and child labor, led into this country by Biden's open borders that they defended and then lied about. Oh, no, the border's secure. It's just sickening. It's disgusting. And the Trump administration has now found 146,000 of the estimated 300,000. And maybe they'll get some safety. Maybe they'll get some rest. Please tell me that they're not sick. You can't. It's indefensible. Absolutely indefensible. Bugsar texts in. He says, remember Biden and the Dems depleting our oil reserves, purposely stopping drilling and permits to locate more oil, electric cars being forced down our throats, plus windmills and solar panels out the wazoo, purposely raising gas prices, and will all return if they return. Oh, and they will be at light speed. Another text, good morning, Bob. Charles from Scott Township. By opening the borders, they might as well open all the prisons. That's how stupid they are. Have a good day. God bless. Rich McHale texts in, Bob, I like your analogy is spot on, but I'm afraid the electorate is enamored with stupidity. A certain percentage is, but I think it might be illness. I really do. My word. Hey, my Picardo jeweler watch tells me we're approaching 950. Raymond Weil, Breitling, Oris Longjeans. It's dads and grads. Watches, jewelry. You'll get it there. Picardo's 950. looking at the pictures of the homeless encampments in Los Angeles. I'm telling you, these people are mentally ill. Now, I'm not talking about just the homeless. I'm talking about the Democrat politicians who have allowed this to happen and are allowing it to happen and think nothing of it. The Chicago Bears might leave the city of Chicago because the mayor, Brandon Johnson's mentally ill, and the governor, the silver spoon baby, Pritzker, is mentally ill. They're going to lose an institution in that city, in addition to all the companies they've lost otherwise, because they're sick. They'd rather choose illegal aliens over their own people, the people they were elected to represent. It's absolutely nuts. And G. Dunk texted in, you guys have seen what is going on in Northern Ireland and Ireland. This wave of immigration, illegal and otherwise, and the favoritism to the immigrants. We've seen it here. It's the same pathology. It's the same mental illness. And they've had enough over there. They said, we can't do this anymore. There's a guy trying to saw the head off an Irish citizen on the streets of Belfast. These people are savages. And you've done nothing to make them stop being savages. You haven't taught them anything about civilization, about how we live here, about what their responsibilities are. It's crazy. It's the left and the Islamists working together to obtain power. And by the way, guess who wins that one in the end? The Islamists. Yeah. The left is a bunch of goofy fruitcakes. I don't even know how else to describe them. They're insane. They're helpless. But they know how to control government. They know how to invent votes like they just did in the Los Angeles mayoral election. By the way, I'm watching Kristen Welker. She's asking Donald Trump, do you have no proof of voter fraud in Los Angeles? In California? He says, yes, we do. A woman pled guilty to paying homeless to register them and to have them vote. She gave them all her address. She pled guilty to it. Oh, no, there's no proof of that. I mean, this is what they do. They deny fact, truth, and reality. And what are you when you do that? Mentally ill. I just don't know how else to describe it. Wrong is not sufficient. Being wrong is when you make, I guess, a mistaken analysis of actual facts. And we used to have these discussions with Democrats back in the 70s. Well, we don't approve of the MIRV missile, multiple independent reentry vehicles. We don't think we should pay for it. We don't need it against the Soviets. Okay. That's a reasonable position. It's a position which could be divided from, it could come from reason. It could also come from ignorance and all that, but it could come from reason. What are we talking about now? We're talking about keeping illegal aliens here. And the cynical leadership, which is not insane, they know they're here to buck up the census because everybody's moving out of these left-wing run cities and states. We need them for the census. which incredibly they then fight to the death to count illegals as American citizens. It's Bob, that is a perfect description. Somebody texts in goofy fruitcakes. They really are all of the disenfranchised people with all kinds of issues. They seem to gravitate toward that party. But you can't allow them to be making decisions because they're not reasonable or rational people. They're goofy fruitcakes. Yep, the goofy fruitcake party. Well, we know how to tell time, and that's because I got a Cordaro Jewelers watch. They've got Raymond, Weil, Breitling, Oris, Longines, Michelle, Shinola, Luminox, Swiss Army, Seiko, Ball watches, Tory Burch, Victorinox, Bulova, G-Shock. Dads and grads, there's a gift for everyone in that category at Cordaro Jewelers. 11:01 and change. Time for the news with Brian Hughes. We'll be back. Great good morning, everyone. My Ricardo Jewelers watch tells me it's 10:11 a.m. this beautiful Thursday, June 11, year of our Lord 2026 here in the great Northeast. This is the Bob Cordaro Show. I am he, and it's a big day to fight for America, defend our values, and honor, with the help of our man John Basiliga and his great Basiliga Hospitality Group, the brave who have made us and kept us free. People like veterans we've lost this year, but celebrate today, thanks to John. Like Harold Williams, Stillwater, Alan Jordan, Peckville, Robert Bruno, Taylor, Thaddeus Mesh, Milford, Delaware, but he was from Hanover Township, Levi Stout, Berwick, and Bill Swisher, Bloomsburg. So with history, our amazing founding fathers, and the incomparable Constitution of the United States of America as our guides, let us continue today's battle. Gaveling back to order today's meeting of the Club for Common Sense after that brief news adjournment. And we promise you that our deep and unalterable commitment to common sense will provide a sanctuary of sanity to all of you who hearken here. Well, I was alerted to this, to some information regarding a virtual power plant program. It's a proposal in Pennsylvania. And we'd be following Texas's lead in pushing for the non-utility energy model. And we've had her on before on other subjects. She's a local energy expert, scientist, energy policy expert. So I said, let's get Monica Carey on again. Let's talk about this. Let's find out what the heck it is. And here she is. Monica, welcome back to the Bob Cordaro Show.
Hey, Bob. Thanks so much for having me back.
Tell me what this is. What is this virtual power plant proposal all about? What's a virtual power plant program?
Oh, yeah. It definitely sounds very wonky. It is basically a network of devices like batteries, generators, smart thermostats, smart appliances, electric vehicles, all of that good stuff that kind of comes together to shift demand at times when the power grid is really under stress, like in the summer when everybody's running their air conditioning or during storms, and to make sure that everybody continues to have power. And it also reduces prices for everyone. I really just see this as a win-win.
All right, so that all sounds splendid.
Yeah.
How is this achieved, and at what cost?
Yeah, so the way it works is if you own one of those devices, say you have a smart thermostat or battery backup, you sign up for the program through your utility. They're the ones who run it. And then what happens is when the grid is stressed, they will let you know in advance through, a notification on your phone saying, hey, this event is coming up. Are you willing to shift some of your power for us this day? And you say yes or no, and that's it. And then you, the device owner, get compensated for that power that you're sending back to the grid, and everybody else gets to keep the lights on, and they're actually paying less for all of that energy that they get to continue to use.
What kind of cost are we talking about for these thermostats and batteries, roughly?
Yeah, so batteries are still pretty expensive. I will not lie to you. They're like roughly $13,000. So these are people who are, they're like really invested in keeping the power on during outages. Mm-hmm. And then the smart thermostats are usually like a couple of $100s, if that. And so like they pay themselves off in a couple of years through this program.
So why don't we have the utilities just do this on their own? Shouldn't they? I mean, they're the ones that are responsible and have said, hey, we're going to provide the power. You guarantee us a profit, PUC, and we'll provide the utilities.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're seeing more and more storms. We're seeing prices go up. Like, this absolutely should be part of the product that they're selling us. So they can do this on their own. What we're seeing is, because it's new, they're a little bit nervous about it. So maybe they're going to take their own time in figuring it out. This bill is House Bill 2264. It's up for a vote next week in the House. It just makes the VPPs happen faster. It means that they happen within the next couple of months instead of just waiting for the utilities to get there.
Okay. And how do we expect you expect if something like this is passed that overall rates, utility rates, will go down?
Yes. Yeah, because what you'll see is that we're already paying for basically like a power plant that kicks on when the grid is not working and is stressed out. And because it is a big power plant that only works for a couple of hours a year, it's really expensive. So ratepayers are already paying for that. This is a way to not build more of those, to use devices that are already on the grid that people already own. So it's, there's no additional cost to ratepayers, and you're actually paying less for the VPP program than you are for those peaker plants.
We're talking with Monica Carey, energy expert, regarding the virtual power plant program proposal. It's in the State House of Representatives at this point and coming up for a vote soon. All right, so let's talk about this, Monica Carey. Do we have other alternatives to it, such as miniature nuclear power plants, that kind of thing? Because we've got an AI push and data center push in Northeast Pennsylvania that is substantial. And I don't think we're unique. I think we're, though, a focal point of this drive. And we're going to really need new energy sources.
Yes, absolutely. I think most of Pennsylvania is really seeing this and seeing their rates go up because of data centers coming online. So yes, we absolutely need new generation. I like your idea, the mini nuke plants. I think this is like all hands on deck, right? We need everything we can get right now. I think we should also focus on getting the cheapest forms of energy online the fastest. So that is going to be things like storage from your batteries, solar, wind energy. That's all extremely cheap. And I think we should be focusing on things like that because it's going to save everyone money.
All right. Well, Monica, thank you for bringing this to our attention. We appreciate it. We look forward to talking to you again.
No, thank you so much, Bob. Have a great day.
Thank you. Monica Carey. We've got to look at alternatives. My own view, wind and additional wind power, additional solar power are not the way to go. Period. They just aren't, especially in a state that is so rich in natural gas that we could supply almost the whole planet. Well, my focus would be natural gas. It is clean. It is beyond abundant. And then the other option is mini nuclear plants. We're going to see. The future of energy is the future of the economy. We've got to keep looking at alternatives. Let's take a break. Bob Cordaro, WILK. We'll be back with a little history, a little music, after we hear from our great sponsors. Murph tells us this date, 1969, David Bowie released his hit Space Oddity in the UK, timing it with the Apollo moon landing. Bob Cordaro back with you on the program. Act Blue. This is one of the worst of the left-wing groups. They fund all kinds of things, crazy elections, insane left-wing lunatic ballot initiatives and policies. Well, they've been taking foreign money. Why foreign money? Well, because there's countries who are willing to give groups in America money in order to help destroy America. Act Blue willingly and excitingly participate in that because they want to ruin America too. Well, their CEO, Regina Wallace-Jones, Mark Mayer sent me this, she had to take the Fifth Amendment over 20 times in a House Administration Committee hearing. What does that tell you? What does that tell you? I've said it often. Why has the Democrat Party become so sick, so diseased, so perverted? Because the money is coming from groups like this. I always mention the Soros family, which, by the way, is funding Mayor Paige Cognetti's campaign for Congress, just so you know. Just so you know what you're voting for. You're voting for the destruction of the country. They think that Paige Cognetti is best to destroy the country in their vision. And that's their intention. Stated. So a vote for Paige Cognetti is a vote for the Soros gang, for Act Blue, for all of them. She'll be getting money from Act Blue. All of them who intend to destroy the country. And that's how the Democrat Party is adopting insane policies. This transgender mania, this open border insanity, this abolish ICE. Before it was abolish the police. They'll come back to it. Believe me, they will. All of these sick, twisted policies. Abortion, targeted abortion of people with disabilities. All of that is on the Democrat Party agenda because that's where their money comes from. And it's so crooked and so illegal. I'm talking about the Southern Poverty Law Center yesterday. That the Act Blue CEO had to take, it's just a normal hearing. Think of this. Had to take the Fifth Amendment against incrimination for criminal activity 20 times in a House Administration Committee hearing. Do you see this? This is the Democrat Party. This is what the Democrat candidates are going to do. This is what Paige Cognetti is going to do. By the way, if Paige Cognetti could destroy America like she has Cecilia Scranton, oh, we love her. This is the level of sickness. And now you got Luzerne County Council. 7 of the 8 Democrats voting for this comprehensive anti-discrimination in employment, housing, education, health care, and public accommodations. By the way, as if we need it, there's already laws the state and the feds have. What is this about? It's about money. It's about power. It's about control. That's what it's about. It's about destruction in the end. You see what you get for voting for these Democrats? Did you remember me telling you and others they were getting their funding from left-wing lunatic groups like Act Blue from Washington, D.C., and elsewhere outside Luzerne County? Well, here's the manifestation. And as someone texted in, there were a bunch of little taxes in there, too. It's about control of everything that does not bow, bend, or follow their sick, twisted ideology. It's not about anything they tell you it's about, it's the opposite. If they tell you it's about compassion, no, it's about hatred and control. That's who they are. They are criminals. All right, 10:33. That means, on my Bacardo Jewelers watch, that means we've got to hear our sponsors, whom we love and wouldn't be here without. Then we'll come back. I've got the Veterans Tribute. Jake has the weather, brought to you by our gang at Montage. Perfect day for the water park. We'll come back. Our Veterans Tribute this hour, as with every hour, this day as with every day, brought to you by our man John Basiliga and his great Basiliga hospitality group. They truly are. These places, I'm telling you, I don't just talk about it. I go to them all the time. I love them. The Old Brook Inn, 307 Springbrook Township. Fabulous. These are all event spaces, too, by the way. The Queen City Tavern, downtown Oliphant. The Far Street Tavern, on Far Street in the Great Trips Park section of West Scranton. All redone, all reimagined, all perfected. The best in fine dining experiences in Northeast Pennsylvania. A modern take in downtown Scranton called a Terra 519. You'll go in, your jaw will drop how beautiful it is. And by the way, it's fine dining. But you could enjoy the bar and a great happy hour, 4 to 6 every day. $10 mixed drinks, $6 craft beer. Same thing at the Stegmaier Mansion, downtown Wilkes-Barre, the Mary Stegmaier Mansion. These places are awesome. They're as good of a dining experience as you will have anywhere in the world. Nightclub, we got a great nightclub. No cover charge tonight just to check it out. Sergei's. Thaddeus Mesh. His name was Ted. He was from Milford, Delaware, but originally from Hanover Township. He died at home May 30th. His journey on the earth is complete after a valiant battle with pancreatic cancer, one of the most deadly and virulent strains. Apropos of nothing, his family says thank you to Sambo's for making one of his final wishes possible. He was born in the Lindwood section of Hanover Township. Graduated from Hanover High School in 1964. He enlisted in the U.S. Air Force in 1965. Did his basic training at Lackland in San Antonio. Was assigned to Strategic Air Command in Omaha, Nebraska. He was there till 1967, and then he served at Air Base Bitburg in Germany until his honorable discharge in 1969. After that, he started working for the local iron workers while awaiting his April 22nd, 1971 enlistment in the Pennsylvania State Police Academy. He served his entire career for all of us at Troop K Media until his retirement in 1991. Very soon thereafter, Ted moved to Delaware and started a construction business, TJM Builders. He retired from that in 2007. He loved golf, country line dancing, watching the Philly sports team. He was past exalted ruler and active member in the Elks in Lowe's, Delaware, before joining the Milford Elks. Preceded in death by his wife of 27 years, Eleanor, his wife of 8 years, Carol, a son, tragically. He survived by his sister, his stepchildren, also survived by his Delaware family, which includes his wife, Laura. Kids in air quotes. And there are 2.5 Delaware great-grandchildren. The baby coming soon and all of that. All of which will greatly miss Mr. Ted. Thaddeus Mesh. Robert Bruno, he was from Taylor. We lost him June 1st. He died unexpectedly at home at the age of 75. His loving wife is Kathy Milletta Bruno. The couple celebrated their 49th wedding anniversary April 23rd. Bob was a graduate of Old Forge High School, class of 68. He attended Johnson Technical School. He honorably served all of us in the United States Air Force during the Vietnam War, where he was a talented jet engine mechanic. He then attended DeVry Institute and was employed by Schott Optical for nearly a decade. Later, he began to work at the Tobyhanna Army Depot in the SATCOM division, from which he retired. Parishioner of St. Mary of the Assumption Church, Prince of Peace Parish in Old Forge. He belonged to the Taylor Senior Citizens, the American Legion in Taylor. He had a lifelong passion for history. He had a gift of gab. Most notably, Bob was a proud Vietnam veteran. He valued the bonds forged through service and never forgot the sacrifices made by those who served alongside him. He loved his Wednesday evening senior supper club as well as his Tobyhanna luncheon club. Also surviving many other family members, cousins, sister-in-laws, brother-in-laws, Robert Bruno. Our great veterans this hour, brought to you by John Basiliga and the Basiliga Hospitality Group. Oh, the great Three Dog Night. Murph says this date, 1970. They saw their fourth top 10 hit go to number one with that great song, Mama Told Me Not to Come. Bob Cordaro back at you on the program. Somebody takes in, hey, Bob, this is so typical of the TDS people. I bring up the fact that at a hearing, not a criminal interview, by the way, very different, at a congressional hearing, the head of Act Blue, a subversive anti-American group, the CEO, Regina Wallace-Jones, invoked the Fifth Amendment over 20 times because they're criminals. So what does the TDS person do? They don't say, geez, maybe Act Blue is a criminal organization. I should be concerned. No, they don't say that. They don't think that way because of their illness. I get a text. Hey, Bob, look and see how many times Trump has taken the fifth. My guess is that's okay with you because there's an R next to his name. Number one, he was being prosecuted criminally. It wasn't a congressional hearing. Like, how much desperate must you be? How horrible must your Trump derangement syndrome be that you come up with this stupidity? Seriously. You realize your TDS is making you stupid, like idiotic. Wow. It's unbelievable. And by the way, what does Donald Trump taking the Fifth Amendment in a criminal prosecution have to do, which, by the way, is a legitimate technique in a criminal prosecution? What does it have to do with a congressional hearing and a group that is bent on destroying the country and supporting left-wing lunatic Democrat policies and politicians? What does one have to do with the other? Nothing, except you're ill. I don't know how to say it. You've got Trump derangement syndrome. I hope you don't have worse. As one of our listeners texts in, Bob LTS, just imagine if Trump didn't win. The border would be wide open, 5,000 per day or more of illegal immigrants invading our country. Everybody, all these TDSers, all these dummy-crats forgot about that. 5,000 a day, unvetted. Drug dealers, rapists, murderers, massive sex trafficking, child labor, 300,000 children lost because the Biden administration would not vet the sponsors of these kids. Sick. The listener says Joe Biden should burn in the bowels of hell. Amen. For the destruction of America and open border policies. Tear down that stolen valor banner. Shame on you, Green Ridge Neighborhood Association. Somebody asked 13,000 murders in 2024 by illegals. How can Joe Biden not be held responsible? He should be in jail. He should be in jail. There's no doubt about it. Hey, we got to take a break. Bob Cordaro, WILK. Let's hear from our great sponsors. We've got the Bloomberg Money Minute in the middle. My Bacardo Jeweler watch tells me it's 10:48. Nice. Murph tells us this date, 1970. Blues Image moved up to number 4 with their hit Ride, Captain Ride. Somebody texted in, it's been almost 2 years. Well, you count months awfully strangely. But anyway, year and a half. Which metrics are we winning on that Trump promised would be better on day one? I'll get to that. I've got a list. Doesn't take much. By the way, that idiot from the Act Blue, she took the Fifth Amendment on her name. Just know what you're dealing with. Know the evil that you're dealing with. And if you don't see that, you're stupid or ill. There's nothing else you could. How do you defend that? Please tell me. She couldn't say her name. Mr. Paul pointed that out to me. Let's go right to the blower. He's been patient. Our man, Max. How are you, Max, in Dixon City?
I'm good. I'm good today because what you said about a half hour ago is what I want to expand upon. I mean, that was the greatest soliloquy I think I've ever heard in talk radio. Everything you said was point on, spot on, hit home. Anyone with logic, anyone with a high IQ or brain, actually not even high IQ, anyone with logic and searching truth can appreciate what you said and say, wow, like this is the reality we're in right now where people just throw that aside.
I don't get it. Why, Max? Yeah. I mean, you know people that do this. I don't get why. What is this illness beyond? Because it goes beyond Trump derangement syndrome. It goes beyond that.
It's been there since birth, how they're raised, how they think. They never have been told no. It's like playing Tecmo Bowl in the 1980s, and everyone wanted to be Bo Jackson on the Raiders, and someone didn't have that team, and they went and they screamed, and they ran to their parents, and their parents came over and said, oh, little Tommy's got to be the Raiders. That's what it stems from. It stems from jealousy. It stems from being unable to control emotions. It comes from jealousy and inferiority complex. These people morphed into adults whose entire life was getting back at people who got one over on them, fair and square. So when they go against logic and truth, it's all about revenge. It's all about getting theirs. It's all about saying, oh, ha, ha, like in your face, rather than see what's happening. You're ushering in a communist regime that wants to see you killed, but they don't care about that. They just want to feel good. Their emotions is what drives them, not logic, not facts.
It's a level of childishness. Like,
yes,
I bring out the fact that this woman from Act Blue, a criminal organization taking foreign money to manipulate our elections, which is illegal, and more. Right. And she takes the Fifth. Somebody immediately said, well, Trump took the Fifth. It's insane. It's an insanity. It's a pathology I don't understand.
Because, again, it's that apples and oranges thing. It's false equivalency arguments. It's the Dunning-Kruger effect in real time. And I wish people would really look that up and study psychology, because it is. It really is.
Repeat what that is, because you actually brought that to my attention.
The Dunning-Kruger is basically, people who do not have a high enough intelligence quotient to accept the reality. So they make up their own reality and play it out in real time. It's along those lines. The medical definition is probably a little different, but again, somebody with that, background could explain it better. But it's basically people, they don't see reality because they're incapable of it. Okay. And that's why these third world people in America, they don't belong in civilization because they cannot cope with civilization. Yeah. They cannot adjust. And that's why we're in the situation we are in. Act Blue and all these donations from Soros bringing in these illegals everywhere across of the first world. I mean, you see in Belfast, Ireland, they're burning out the migrants in their hotels as well. They should right now after that attack on the disabled
and by the way, many attacks, gang rapes, all kinds of savagery that's happening in the United Kingdom and Ireland, that they've had enough of it. It's like, what are these people trying to do? They're literally trying to destroy your country and your culture. That's what they're trying to do.
And they sat and they took it and they didn't fight it when it first came, and now they're in a situation where now it's going to be worse, and we're in the same situation.
That would have been us with an election of Kamala Harris. That would have been
Oh
our
my
country.
God, it would have been
Yep.
over. I hesitate to think we'd probably be in the guillotine right now.
Man.
That's where I think we would be. And to my main purpose of this call is, to prove the idiocy. The Carmelo Anthony case was open and shut. It had nothing to do with anything except
to do with race.
brutal murder. Right. So, but they made it about race, and now he was guilty. Their defense team couldn't even defend him. They had nothing.
Yep.
All their even the people they called to the stand said, no, Carmelo was in the wrong. He murdered that kid. He did this, A, B, C, and D. So now they're appealing. The appeal has nothing to do with fairness or honesty.
I mean, that's a lawyer's
or
job.
justice.
I'm more upset about the people who were outside. Well, we got to go, by the way, Max. But
Okay.
Sure. I'm more upset about the people who were outside and the declarations they were making that a black could not get justice in this country. They were so unmoored from reality. Mm-hmm. It was hard. It was painful to watch. This was a senseless murder. One teen is dead. The other teen's life is destroyed. But someone or something in his past made that kid think that putting a 6-inch blade in another kid's chest is justifiable for that moment. And by the way,
and that's the scary part.
The scarier part, he was by all accounts, a good, normal kid before this happened. That's where you just say, oh, my God. Nuts. Thank you, Max. Appreciate it. Hey, 11:02, almost 11:03 on my Picardo Jewelers watch. That means time for the news with Brian Hughes. We will be back, and I will tell you what has improved in this country since the Trump administration. You know it does, baby. Great good morning, everyone. 11:09 a.m. here in the great Northeast on my Picardo Jewelers watch. This beautiful but potentially stormy Thursday, June 11th, year of our Lord 2026 here in the great Northeast. This is the Bob Cordaro Show. I am he. And it's a big day to fight for America, defend our values, and honor, with the help of our man John Basiliga and his great Basiliga Hospitality Group, the brave who have made us and kept us free. People like the veterans we've lost this year, but salute today, thanks to John, like Robert Bruno Taylor, Thaddeus Ted Mesh, Leda Delaware, but he was from Hanover Township, Harold Williams, Stillwater by way of Plymouth, Alan Jordan, Peckville, Levi Stout, Berwick, and Bill Swisher, Bloomsburg. So with history, our great founding fathers, and the incomparable Constitution of the United States of America as our guides, let us continue today's battle. Gaveling back to order this meeting of the Club for Common Sense after that brief news adjournment, promising you that our deep and unalterable commitment to common sense will provide a sanctuary of sanity to all who hearken here. So I did a quick back-of-the-napkin list of things that are better. I'm telling you, you could do the whole show since we got rid of Biden and the Democrats. Now, they can't get everything done. You hear the usual bullspit, but they control the Senate and the House. Now, unfortunately, this is why I'm not a Republican lover. We've got at least 4, and then sometimes more, squishy, horrible Republicans who backstab the party. Just for example, on the Save America Act, on voter ID and proof of citizenship in order to vote. Oh, boy, that's crazy. That's crazy. We should have homeless voting that aren't even from California in the Los Angeles elections. Just these people are sick. All right, first of all, the attack on diversity, equity, inclusion, and that sick, twisted entitlement philosophy. The attack on trans insanity. Very important, by the way, culturally, incredibly important. The exposure of government waste. The complicity with non-governmental organizations and nonprofits to waste your money to make their income to the tune of $1 trillion a year, just in the federal government, never mind state and local. The consultants, the lawyers, you're paying for all of them to produce nothing. Doge proved that the money wasn't even getting to the ridiculous programs that people like USAID were promoting. If 10% or 20% of the money allocated to things like Drag Queen Story Hour in Albania, the Muppets in Iraq, if it ever got there, it didn't. It stayed in the Beltway. We exposed that $93 billion, just one department, Department of Energy, $93 billion went out the door after Kamala Harris lost. They don't even know where. We found, and the numbers total, and they're still working on it, 142,000 of the 300,000 kids who came into this country illegally with fake sponsors. Nobody knows where they are. We've found almost half. Think of the sickness of that. Think of the evil of that. Fentanyl deaths dramatically reduced. The border, it is closed. By the way, remember the lie? We can't close it without legislation. Trump did it in about a month. The murder rate in this country dramatically reduced. Our capital city, which everybody should care about, not only has the crime rate gone down, but incredible improvements in the beauty of our capital. The face we show to the entire world. Economic growth has been solid to stellar. The stock market, stellar. Energy production, dramatic increases. Capital investment in this country, which will pay off big time down the road. Trillions and trillions of dollars. The tax cuts that all of us have experienced under the big mediocre bill, they continue. And you have more of your own money in your pocket. The attack on the left-wing media and the universities for their corruption, for their lies. By the way, inflation, particularly core inflation, is a triumph. Core inflation, without, not counting energy and food, is solid and way better than under the Democrats and their lunatic policies. The only thing we've got going against us at this moment is energy prices because of the necessary existential attack on Iran. Ending control of the Middle East by Iran, ending their nuclear weaponry hopes and their hopes and belief that they could bring out the end of the world by utilizing nuclear weapons on Israel and the rest of the Middle East and delivering them wherever else they could. We've got a massive favor to humanity. A remarkable, dramatic change in the direction we were headed under scumbag. I could go on. I got to go to a commercial break. I could lose sight of time and go on. We care now more about Americans, other than the Democrat Party. Oh, by the way, I didn't even mention how many illegals have left this country. Hundreds of thousands, thank God. How many illegal criminals have been locked up by ICE? That's another. How many children are not being killed? How many mothers are not being slain by illegals who came into this country unvetted? By the way, on an apropos of something else, somebody corrected me. Bob, I'm pretty sure the knife was 3.5 inches, not 6 inches, meaning the knife Carmelo Anthony used. You know what? You are correct. By all I can detect, the problem with the savagery and regardless of the length of the thank you for the correction, but regardless of the length of the knife, it tore into the victim's chest so deeply that there was bone and organ material on the knife. Yes, hellacious death. Anyway, those are just some of the areas of improvement. Put on top of that, the icing on the cake, we actually have, and I could go through foreign policy success after success after success. Long term, the trade deals that Trump has made and will make will bring back and preserve what's left of our middle class, which is the heart of the country. It was being destroyed under Democrat policies. All right, we got to go. We got to take this break. Let's hear from our great sponsors. We'll come back with a little history, a little music, and then you, if you'd like, 570-883-0098. Oh, by the way, how about eggs? We'll be back. Guns N' Roses. Murph tells us this date, 1988. They released their hit, Sweet Child of Mine. Bob Cordaro back with you on the eponymous program. Mother Teresa, St. Teresa for June 11th. People often ask me, she said, you work to bring about peace. Why don't you work to lessen war? If we work for peace, there will be fewer wars. But I won't mix our work with politics. War is the fruit of politics, and so I don't involve myself. That's all. If I get stuck in politics, I will stop loving because I will have to stand by one and not by all. Saint Teresa, Mother Teresa. The Pope Leo could use that advice, couldn't he? You know, leaders like her, not having her around, thank God, and thank you, Mary Regina, for sending that in. He's Francis before him and Leo now. Take those words to heart, would you please? Stay out of it. Unbelievable. I got to tell you. But, guys, I could go on for the rest of the program with the accomplishments of the Trump administration. And by the way, the fact that they were able to execute them is what is incredible. By the way, I didn't even get into the MAHA movement, Make America Healthy Again. I didn't even get to started there. It's remarkable. I could go on for hours. And by the way, if you don't see what they've done, but it's no genius. It's common sense in the face of raw insanity of the Biden administration and the Democrat Party. You see this piece of spit in New York City, the mayor. He's going to pay $70 million of taxpayer money to build a grocery store. And not only is he doing that with their money, but all the bodegas, all the grocery stores in Manhattan, in New York City, are paying for their competition. This is such pure lunacy. I don't even know how to describe it. It's insanity. And as the Trump derangement syndrome dummycrats do, what about Trump? What the hell does that have to do with anything? Seriously, what does it have to do with anything? Among his faults, he's a huckster. He'll sell anything. He loves to make money. I don't like it. It's what is. I'll deal with it. I'll put up with it. He's not taking any money off of me, so I don't care. I want the policies. And maybe we'll get a little less silliness with the next Republican president. I don't know, but I will tell you this. Trump was the essential man for his times to save this country. No one would have stuck to it in the midst of everything he's had to put up with. No one. No one else. Sorry. So he's the indispensable man. Is he perfect? Obviously not. He's completely imperfect. His mouth, he's just got to stop talking. Just, for example, in the Iran situation. Stop saying you're ready to make a deal when you're not ready to make a deal. Your optimism, your salesmanship is lost on us. At least it's lost on me. Blow them off the face of the earth and let's move on. I don't know why Israel's not being allowed to go in there and kill them all their leadership. We got 90 million souls at stake in Iran. Maybe a few million are horrible, bad apples who want to bring about the end of the world. Take care of them. Let's get that country back. Put the troops on the ground. Do what you have to do. Let us open the strait and get regime change. Period. Done. Stop the nonsense. Stop the delays. There are no peace talks with scum. It ain't happening. I'll tell you what, your number starts with 877 in the 570 area code. You are a complete ass. To the point of merriment, my point. It's absolute merriment to watch how stupid you are. By the way, and I don't even know, I've mentioned it once before, but not enough. The live stream, and I've got my HTS Systems shirt on. Great shirt. It's got the American flag on the sleeve. That live stream brought to you by, you go to YouTube, Bob Cordaro Show, WILK, Roach Supply, premier bath and kitchen supplier in Northeast Pennsylvania. 75 years in business. Nonagenarian and superstar and veteran, Ron Roach. He's up there leading the gang, 3 generations working side by side. The best in bath and kitchen for everybody in the Northeast. RoachSupply.com, ROCHE. We'll take a break because it's 11:30 on my Bacardo Jewelers watch. We'll come back with the Veterans Tribute. We'll come back. Jake will have the weather. And as we always say, and as always we always deliver, more. Our Veterans Tribute this hour, as with every hour, this day as with every day. Brought to you by our man John Basiliga and his great Basiliga Hospitality Group, consisting, as of the moment, of 3 great bar restaurants. I'm telling you, check them out. Clean, beautiful, great service, great food, great drinks. Best of atmospheres. The Old Brook Inn, 307, Springbrook Township. The Far Street Tavern on Far Street in the Great Trips Park section of West Scranton. The Queen City Tavern, downtown Oliphant. Fine dining, the best anywhere, and one of the greatest dining experiences you will have. Actually, 2 of them. A modern take, a Terra 519. 519 Linden Street, downtown Scranton. Great happy hour specials. New pricing, new menu, new chef. The Stegmeyer Mansion, an old world take in the Mary Stegmeyer Mansion on South Franklin Street in Wilkes-Barre. Bill Swisher, former school principal. He was from Bloomsburg. He went to Bloomsburg High School, where he was an outstanding pitcher, averaging 12 strikeouts a game, pitching a no-hit game his senior year. He was also the team's captain. He was selected All-League 3 times, All-State in his senior year. After high school, Bill served in the Army in Fort Richardson, Alaska, 1953 to 1955. In 1953, was selected as the member of the All-Army team. After the Army, Bill enrolled in Bloomsburg State Teachers College. There, he set another all-time scoring record in basketball, being the first player in school history to score more than 1,000 points. This is prior to the three-point line. In 1992, he was inducted into the Bloomsburg University Hall of Fame. He married his beloved wife, Sarah, in 1959. Started teaching in Hamilton, New York. He got a master's degree at Colgate. He was selected elementary principal in Mount Upton, New York. There they established a new elementary school library. Bill accepted in 1966 a position as principal at Cincinnatus Central School, Cincinnatus, New York. In 1976, the family moved to McGraw, New York, where he served as elementary school principal for the next 20 years before retiring. All kinds of accommodations for his time as a teacher. He was big with the Lions Club, the Elks, the American Legion in Cortland. Bill and Sarah provided scholarships for high schools and colleges, tutored students in South Carolina, where they wintered. He enjoyed traveling, golf at St. Andrews in Scotland. Bill is predeceased by his wife for 66 years. Sarah Sands Swisher, tragically also by his son. He's survived by his daughters, 4 grandchildren, 11 great-grandchildren, and other family members. Great athlete, great teacher, Bill Swisher. Levi Stout. Oh, we lost him too soon. 41. He was from Berwick. He was a maintenance employee who served during the Iraq War. We lost him May 30th. Graduate of Berwick High School, class of 2003. He went on to serve as a tank operator in the U.S. Army National Guard. During the war in Iraq, he was one of the military police who guarded Saddam Hussein. Mr. Stout was employed in the maintenance at the Berwick Hospital and at Knoebels Amusement Resort. Life member of the VFW in Nescopec. He loved fishing, video games, pool, hanging out with friends and family. He's survived by his brother, his mother, aunts, uncles, nephews, and other family members. Gone too young, Levi Allen Stout. Our great veterans this hour, brought to you by our man, John Basiliga, and the Basiliga Hospitality Group. Well, what does that mean? Sunshine. Well, it means Tina Morocco. You know that. Our global sales advisor at Sotheby's International Realty, Naples, Florida. You could reach her through Sotheby's International in Naples or at tinamorocco.com, MURACCO, or at any social media, Facebook, Instagram, all of that. tinamorocco.com. She is your trusted advisor for Florida real estate, specializing in Southwest Florida. And here she is. Tina, how are you today?
Bob, I'm fine. How are you?
I'm in a shameful lather, but that's okay. That's what that's what I'm supposed to be doing. And you came along just in time to calm me down.
All right. Well, I'll try to calm and entertain you. How about that?
Please do. Calm, entertain, and inform. That's what we expect and demand out of you, Tina.
Okay.
What's on your mind today?
I've got something today. Today, I was thinking about my friends and customers in Cape Coral. And the reason for that is Cape Coral really has an interesting history. And when I'm showing properties out there to people that are, new with the area, I like to tell them a little bit about it because then it starts to make sense, the way it's laid out and the things you'll see there. And so Cape Coral is the youngest big city in Florida. And so the reason for that is Cape Coral wasn't built around a city or didn't grow up naturally. It was purchased, the land was purchased by brothers from Baltimore in the late 1950s, and they had plans to, just sell plots of land. And so they thought, why don't we start doing, their theme was waterfront paradise. We're going to market these lots as waterfront paradise. And so they started digging canals. They dug 400 miles of canals.
Wow.
And then, I know, it's huge. So the plot of land of Cape Coral that they purchased was 100 miles. And so 400 miles of canals around these properties. And then they started marketing it. And the way they marketed it as this waterfront paradise is they would take people in airplanes and have them pick out their plot of land by air. And so they marketed it all across the United States, but heavily in Germany and the UK. And so what happened is in the 70s and the 80s, we had this huge influx of British and German people purchasing properties in Cape Coral. And so today we have the largest German population, I think, in Florida, and the largest German events in Florida. Like our Oktoberfest in Cape Coral is unbelievable. It really is something.
Oh, I'll bet. Wow.
Yeah, so there's a lot of real estate companies in Cape Coral and property management companies in Cape Coral that are German speaking. So
let me ask you a question. Where is Cape Coral? I know I've heard of it.
Yeah.
Where is it located? Set the location for me.
Yeah, so Cape Coral is just northeast of Fort Myers. So it's the land that goes northeast. It's not a beach. It's all like waterfront, canal front properties. And Cape Coral, the real estate values there, they're a lot more affordable than even Fort Myers and Naples. Right now, I'm just looking at properties there. You can buy a condo there for $100,000.
Wow.
And so, they go all the way up to several $1 million. There's beautiful homes on the canals there. There's freshwater canals and saltwater canals. But it's just an interesting place. The other interesting thing that I think you'll like about this, Bob, is the veteran population there is huge. We have 14,000 veterans, at least, probably more than that now. And the population of Cape Coral is about 200,000. Wow. It's designated as a Purple Heart City, which means we really honor, our soldiers that were wounded and killed in combat. But yeah, it's just an interesting place and just a pretty diverse community there.
Boy, you give me veterans to protect me. You give me the water, and you give me those price points. I'm excited. Yeah. I'm excited about Cape Coral.
Yeah,
wow.
Exactly. Exactly. The other thing about Cape Coral that's really nice is in southeast and southwest Cape Coral, we really have a lot of shopping and restaurants. And a lot of those places are not chain restaurants. They're independent, kind of quirky, like old Florida, kind of vibe. It's not like
Neat.
commercial. They have a lot of breweries, distilleries. So it's just a fun place to visit. I mean, not just live, but it's a fun place to visit. And, if you like to dine on the water or hang out on the water, it's certainly somewhere to put on your map.
Wow. It's on mine. It's on mine. Although I've got to tell you, I'm going to be boring. When I want Florida real estate, I'm just going to call you. And then you're going to tell me all this stuff. So
I'll tell you all about it.
All right. Tina Morocco, fantastic. Cape Coral today.
Cape Coral.
She is your trusted guide to Florida real estate, specializing in Southwest Florida. You can reach her at Sotheby's International Realty in Naples or go direct. Tina Morocco, MURACCO.com, on any social media or her own website. Thanks, Tina.
Thank you, Bob.
All right. We'll take a break. We'll be back. It's the Bob Cordaro Show. Biden banner disgrace, day 179. The Green Ridge Neighborhood Association has wrongfully placed Joe Biden on a veterans banner, a hometown hero banner, intended for veterans, not for people like Biden who avoided service. It's on North Washington Avenue. It's a disgrace. It's stolen valor. And you should be ashamed of yourself, Green Ridge Neighborhood Association. Look them up and tell them what you think on Facebook. In particular, the Green Ridge Neighborhood Association, a disgrace, just like Joe Biden. Day 179. Almost forgotten all the fury. So, today was garbage day. My great guys at the Scranton DPW, they got it done again. Despite the fact that consultants hired by Paige Cognetti at an exorbitant cost to the taxpayers are trying to get in their way. Sorry, Paige, they know what they're doing without you. Thank you. And by the way, this is for everybody. Thank your DPW guys. Because garbage day is a big day. They're taking everything you don't want. They're getting up early, and they're getting it done in all kinds of weather. Hey, speaking of Scranton, you had this threats all over the. We're going to finish with George Harrison's tribute song to John Lennon. And it had moved up to number 2 this date, 1981, all those years ago. And as we wrap it up, I want to wrap it up with how horrible a mayor we have. There was this homeless craziness that went on. Knife and machete-wielding people roaming around Scranton last week, Tuesday night into Wednesday morning. Now, as you know, the Scranton Times, which sucks as bad as the mayor, but they're left-wing lunatics, just like the mayor, didn't report on this until the following Sunday. People are running around with machetes and knives. Homeless people. There were 9 victims of their attacks right in downtown Scranton on Lackawanna Avenue and elsewhere. Remember when Page appointed the homeless task force? They called it the unhoused because the homeless might get offended. They've done nothing. Paige Cognetti has done nothing. The homeless situation in Scranton has gotten worse, and now it's broken out into violence that you will not read about in the Scranton Times because they suck, and they're trying to protect it. Paige's awful mayoralty, her awful administration, and the horrendous newspaper teaming up to try to make her your awful left-wing lunatic congressperson. Remember that. They are against you. Completely. Yeah, knife-wielding and machete-wielding attacks resulting in 9 victims. No big deal. That's not even news. Yeah. That's what she brings to you. And she'll be getting the Act Blue money, believe me. You'll see. They'll be spending on her behalf because they know she's a loon. Well, my Picardo Jewelers watch tells me the sweep hand heading up to noon. That means I got to go. It's what it is. The Sue Henry Show's next. The Rob O'Donnell Show after that. God willing, we'll be with you tomorrow morning. 9 o'clock to get it all done again. But for now, we must gavel to a close. Today's meeting of the Club for Common Sense, otherwise known as the Bob Cordaro Show. Adios. Have a great afternoon. Enjoy the water park if you're going.